I am just kind of vibing right now, doing some work, trying to get some stuff done here, but my brain is at the point where I just need other people around. So guess what, chat? You gotta be the lovely other people. Alright, let's see what we have. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And now we're gonna look at this here. Hello, Cottage Fae. I wasn't expecting anybody to show up. Hello, Terrified Rhythm. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Why are you live? Because I'm in the executive dysfunction mode right now with my ADD, and I need people around to actually do anything. So I just wanted to hang out with all of you. How's everybody doing? It's going to be at most an hour-long stream, maybe 45 minutes. I do have an appointment coming up. I just want to get some stuff done, so I want to talk to all of you while we're here. So what's up, everybody? Hello, Terrified Rhythm. Hello, Red Fae and Pink and Naptime and it's been a little while. How you been, sweetie? Hello, Onyx and Neela and Akami. Hello, Addie. I'm glad you're awake. Did you get some more sleep? I'm just kind of going through some ADD stuff right now, so that's why we're streaming right now. It's helping me actually function a little bit because I can actually type and do some work stuff. Puerto Rico. And we can keep, yeah, so you're just gonna hang out with me a little bit. I gotta be in the paint studio. You paint? Oh, that is so cool. We're kind of co-working, chatting, vibing, hanging out. I said I'm glad I missed morning stream, but hi, hello, what are you doing here? Yeah. Just co-working. I am gonna do my normal stream. Hello, Useless. I feel really bad calling you that. Can I call you Huntress instead? Is Huntress fine, or do I have to call you Useless Huntress? You're writing a book? Oh, good job, Panda. Keep it up. Had an exam earlier today. I'm awake for the last 2 days. Em, please get some sleep, okay? Time to actually do some schoolwork. Do it. Draw some stuff. Okay, let's see. Where am I on this real quick? Okay, that's updated that. Oh, I'm lagging. Did someone redeem something, or did stream just die? Ah, that's what it is. Reacted them in chat earlier. I'll send updates later. Oh, yes. If your name is different, it might be the same there. But if your name is different on the Discord and than it is here, I guarantee I will not recognize you. OG Blueberry Kush. Hey, yo, what's up? How you doing? Just in time for my lunch break. Ooh, nice. Wait, that makes you like East Coast, I'm guessing? Macaroni cheddar. Been working later tonight, so I'm getting some cupcakes. Oh, cupcakes sound amazing. What kind of cupcakes? Completely ghosted me. Look, I have bad object permanence as it is. You give me like a lemon and tell me it's an orange now, I'll be like, this thing doesn't exist anymore. I can never look at this thing ever again. Ooh, devil's food is so good. No, it's not. It's time to find a new pen. What the heck? Did you just gift subs? Yo, Macaroni, thank you for the subs. Thank you. You did not have to, but I really, really appreciate it. Enable notifications. You said you would? You don't have to, though. Vanya! Vanya, I am currently doing a co-working little stream. Because I'm having some difficulty focusing at work right now. Which, I'm working from home, so it's fine, but... Oh, this is so annoying. I have to deal with this ticket here. Okay, let's see what they had. Okay. Can you work on my self-esteem? I would love to, but that's going to need some therapy. Oh, I think all pens macaroni with the chicken strips. Honestly, though, chat, you ask me, like, what I am doing. If you tell me something during stream and you ask me immediately after stream what you told me, I will not remember. I will not remember. I don't remember what I said 3 seconds ago. So if you ever want to get one over on me, just say that you totally said you did something, and I will believe you. Oh, am I getting bonked? What's happening? There it is. It's those Twitch redeems. They always take a while to load in the first time. Don't you dare cancel your therapy. Why'd you cancel your therapy? I love cheese. I'm white. Of course I like cheese. You could tell me that I said something and I would probably believe you. My cat came running when he heard you. He's watching now. Hello, kitty cat. Meow. Please be honest with me. Please be honest with me. I would prefer you were honest with me. But my brain, I would probably believe most things. It means I just not believe anybody. Okay. On hold, waiting for customer. Perfect. Okay, just have like 2 grilled cheese and mac and cheese. That sounds good. Gene telling Chad to gaslight. I'm not telling you to gaslight me. I'm saying you could, and it would. Wait. I can't remember what the cat is. There's a cat noise they can do. It's the... And it's supposed to get their attention, to make them come here. You promised us that you'd let us out of the cage totally. Yet no, that I wouldn't do. That I wouldn't do. Gene, why do you know how to talk to cats? Don't ask me questions I don't have the answer to. I'm doing my best. Got myself some saltines and some Sprite. Well, definitely get some therapy. Get therapy. They're important. Trust me. Hey, I started therapy, hated myself for like 6 months. Was like so depressed constantly. Just going to therapy, to talk to somebody, to work things out can be so good for you. So good, so important. So make sure you do that, okay? Let's get some therapy. I go to my therapy, I'll throw up on my therapist. That'd be funny. Do it. Go to your therapist and then tell me about it. And then I can make a TikTok going, my viewer went to the therapist and threw up at them because I told them to do so. Vomit on your therapist. Vomit on your therapist. Give me content. Hello, Wrecking Ball. Thank you for the lurk. Just had my gallbladder removed. Ayo! That sucks. That hurts. Did they stitch it up nicely, or are they going to have some ugly scars? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 scars from my gallbladder removal. Don't make my therapist need therapy. Therapists need therapy. Honey, every therapist needs therapy already. I mean, they have to listen to everybody's problems all the time. Yes, I don't have a gallbladder. You're glued together? Ooh, fun. Mine was awful. Mine was so awful. No, the gallbladder surgery doesn't hurt. I'll tell you what about the gallbladders for in just a second. The gallbladder surgery does not hurt. What hurts is the healing process, because you have 4 massive cuts, 4 to 3 massive cuts in you. And painkillers don't work on me properly. Most painkillers, like high-end painkillers, just make me a little bit loopy. And so I couldn't sleep for 3 days because I couldn't lay down in any comfortable position. I had to wait until things healed. The gallbladder contains bile. It is used as an additional resource when you are digesting food. So let's say you have like a really fatty meal, the gallbladder will pour out more bile into your stomach to process that, which is very important for Americans because, let's admit it, a lot of our food is more fatty than it should be. And like if you're doing dairy and stuff. But the gallbladder can build up, like if it's used too frequently, it can make stones. Gallbladder is, I think, like top right a little bit. If you feel like heartburn, it gives you kind of like heartburn sensations. It's closer to the middle right. But yeah, so it can make stones, and if it gets stones, it'll clog up that part and can cause some major issues. So they remove it and then they head it out. So here's the thing. You can do therapy. I believe in you. As long as you go to therapy with the understanding that your therapist is there to help you. You aren't there to impress your therapist. You aren't there to convince them you're okay. You're there to have problems solved. And so you need to be fully honest with the therapist. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong. It is so hard. I found myself being like, yeah, I'm totally fine. Everything's going great. No, wait. This is my therapist. This is my therapy. Let me talk to them. Yes. And that's the thing. If you do have your gallbladder removed, it can cause issues with digesting food in the future. Gallstones or kidney stones, Karmia? Because usually, as far as I know, gallstones don't really pass that well. But kidney stones do. I mean, they don't pass well. They hurt. But usually, at least what I've experienced with gallbladder or gallstones is that they are... Really? I didn't know you could pass them. Well, something new. Vulnerable met 2,700. What? I mean, the thing is, I will never be done with therapy. And a lot of people will never be done with therapy. I mean, just, I hate to say this, chat, but I am a live streamer. I need therapy. Making sure to reinforce boundaries and making sure to like process things as we grow and work in a community. I talk to my therapist about all you all the time. Not in a negative way, but in a heavily like, let me make sure that I'm still being a healthy, positive streamer for everybody, and that boundaries are set, comfort is had, and everybody does well. All right, let's do the next ticket here. 1 second. We're going to do another piece of work. Hi, everybody. Hello, Blue. Blue moon sway. All right, I'm waiting for a response from one guy, because I need to figure out if... that's a pain. Okay. Oh. Write it down. Write it down. Genuinely, if you're going to therapy, sit down and write down maybe some few thoughts every day, okay? Hi, Harvey. Just a little bit of like a, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Just a general idea of like, how am I feeling today? And get used to it. The more you get used to it, the better it will go. I can only imagine you saying specific things said by specific viewers in the middle of a different conversation. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like generally when I talk to therapy about like streaming, it's more of like overall, not individuals. Individually, everything's fine. What's up, Allison? I've tried using a journal, but I lose it so much. Phone. Use your phone. Oh yeah, all-nighters can be really bad. Dude, I really need to get into the habit of writing stuff down for therapy. Yeah, use your phone. Use your phone. Or better yet, if you have an iPhone, hey, insert iPhone assistant name here. Please do this. Oh, and therapy. So my therapist is very nice. Mine is between $80 to $200. I pay about $120 a session, and I go multiple times a month. Luckily, I have enough money to pay for that, but there is some cheaper therapies out there. And I know it can be rough, but it should be one of the primary things you look for when, you know, getting insurance and stuff. There is a key, Faye, there is a key stuck on your keyboard somewhere, or it's on your mouse. You may want to try to like tap every key on your keyboard until it fixes, but there's definitely a key somewhere that's jammed. I want to avoid Grippy Sock Vacation. Therapist will not send you to Grippy Sock Vacation unless you say you're going to hurt yourself. And if you do it online, they can't do anything. I didn't get really big cuts. They're like barely 2 inches long, and I took my gallbladder out by my belly button. Yeah, see, I had one in the center of my chest, one done by my belly button. I think I have 2 on the right side. They're tiny, but yeah. Oh yeah, no, because I was worried. Like, if I want to confess everything to a therapist, I mean, we're not gonna get to too triggering topics here. But I mean, everybody's had really dark moments. And if you want to be honest with a therapist, but you need to have a job to survive, you don't want to get a Grippy Sock Vacation. So, yeah, guess what? They can't do it if they're online. Hello, Roma. Romra. Snowbar and I had a situation. I should have gone to a Grippy Sock Vacay, but they let me go instead. So, And here's the thing. You are going to know your mental health, like where you're at, better than anybody else does. If you need to be locked up for a while, that is valid. That is totally understandable. Make sure you take care of yourself. It's hard to do, especially when you're at your worst place in your head, when you feel like you don't deserve to be able to be taken care of. But like, the first thing that we can do for our own betterment is learning to do things for our own betterment. Tapped all my keys and opened VRC Creator Companion and still dinks. Unplug the keyboard, replug it in, or restart the computer. Outage in your region? That would not be surprising. I feel like Hong Kong always has issues with these connections. Okay, this is a pain in the butt. Y'all, I'm dealing with an issue right now that's been so frustrating. They were sent a printer. They ordered a printer, they were sent a printer. Then they're asking, why did we receive a printer? And so they sent it back. They sent it back just using the address and not telling anybody they sent it back. That's not how you sent back corporate goods. All right, well then, Allison, you're doing it wrong. Go to your therapist and say, hey, I have these issues. You need to take control of your therapy, because if you just let them go, they're going to laugh around and try to find something. But if you go to therapy and say, hey, I have these issues, I would like to talk about these things specifically, then they can help you. Yeah, I'm dealing with an issue where I already said they sent back a printer using a corporate thing. And I'm just so frustrated with this. I'm so frustrated with this. Because it's like, what are we supposed to do now? They want their funds back, and it's like, you just sent a package to a random guy. Imagine that. Imagine going up to a random guy being like, oh, I got sent this package, so I sent it back to their home address. Did you tell anybody that? No. How do we know you sent it back? Oh, it says received. Okay, and you could be lying. Don't use character I for therapy. If you are going to use anything for therapy, I would suggest, I don't want to say it, but ChatGPT, if you go with the prompting and understanding of what you're looking for, it can justify anything. It will justify anything, but only use an AI if you have no other option and you already know some basics. You know where your failings are at. Because if you already know your failings, it can give you proper advice. If you do not come in it with any sort of like starting point, it will just echo back to you. Oh, well, yeah, and that's why I suggest a remote. Like, if you can find any remote therapists, any like long distance therapists, because for me, that means I can constantly go, and if I move somewhere, they're always going to be there for me. Now, let me check on this thing real quick. The only echo chamber is good is the one that is Gene. That's right, chat. We are an echo chamber, and we're the best echo chamber. All your other echo chambers should be ignored. Remember, I am the one, don't need a gun, to get respect up on these streets. Is generally the only time I leave my house to stuck physical. That's good. That's a good thing. Painting is my therapy. While art is good therapy, having a professional you can talk to is always better. Can I please have my privileges? Can I please be granted my privilege? Please? I want to do some work. Speed therapy? That's a thing? That sounds insane. What is going on with this? I didn't just get fired, did I? 1 second. I gotta figure this out. Why is it acting up now all of a sudden? Let me get my rolls. Come on. All right, well, we're just gonna take a look. if Microsoft's having some outage? How many times have they denied your privilege? I feel like this is way too common. Well, okay, so here's the thing. The job I do, so I'm about to teach y'all about security. You ready? So when you work in IT, you're granted admin level access. This allows you pretty much endless access to all sorts of things. It means that also you can cause a lot of trouble. So here's what they did. They have a thing called PIM, which is a daily access thing that you have to go into. So I have to go in every day. I have to click, hey, can I please have access? And they'll give me 8 hours of access, and then we're good to go. Okay? That way, if somebody steals my password or tries to hack in, but I'm not on the office and I'm not available to like confirm, there's no access anyway, so they can't really do anything. That also means, though, that I need to go in and hit like accept on this thing in the day. And if it ever has some loading issues, then I have an issue. Gaming isn't therapy, but it is a good outlet. Therapy is therapy. I understand, but I don't want you all to get in your head that you can use anything as a replacement. Talking to people, expressing your emotions, especially with a licensed person, is something that everyone needs. And if you cut yourself off completely from people and only engage in the things you enjoy, you will slowly deteriorate. I promise. Good. Oh yeah, no, psychiatrists aren't therapists. Psychiatrists are doctors who are trying to fix your brain. Surprise, surprise, that doesn't fix a lot of things. I mean, a lot of drugs, sure, you can take all sorts of things. I take Adderall for my ADD and it helps, but it doesn't fix everything. But yeah, if you talk to a psychiatrist about a problem, oh, anxiety, here's this med. Oh, this problem, here's this med. Here's this med. Here's this med. Eventually, you don't feel anything. And you don't understand why everything's happening. You just live with it. I feel you, Allison. And yes, antidepressants are good. And sometimes your brain needs chemicals. But without the therapy part of it, you won't understand things in the first place. And some feelings are reasonable. Anxiety. We all have anxiety at times. And if things are getting bad, anxiety. But there are times where things are good and you're still feeling anxious. That is when you need the meds. That's when you should start looking for other stuff. When everything is going perfect in your life. But I mean, considering the way the world is, having a little bit of constant anxiety is not that far off. And that's right. See, my brain does not produce dopamine properly or has damaged dopamine receptors. Hence why I use Adderall. Well, and then, yeah, you got that, then you're probably definitely overdosed. If everything is perfect in your life, you don't feel like there's no struggles, but you're still feeling random bouts of anything, that is the time when you really want psychiatry. Get a 50-50. And sometimes the meds are just there to keep you going until you can get the therapy and figure things out right, and then you can come off the meds. Everything in moderation. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Katamia. I think ADD is just very easy to claim. And the fact is, genuinely, we overstimulate our brains to the point of dopamine damage. So there's a high chance everybody has ADD. I mean, look at me right now. With my sugary drink in one hand, I can't even work right now without talking to people. How many people have been here walking through talking and just hanging out? I mean, like, I am not a picture of hell. But this feels good. I like doing this right now, and I'm in a solid place. My middle scream teacher told me to drink room temperature water and lemon. While I'm working on a clip video, hey, thank you. I was diagnosed with 20/20 on ADHD scale when I was younger. I'm working on art with Sprite. Are you using Sprite to draw? Mm-hmm. Do be careful with other media as well, Vanya, but I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it's been helping you. Do you not have a phone number? Why don't you have a phone number? You should have a phone number. Ah, there we go. Okay. Valid, valid. I do appreciate those when you do send them, though. Don't feel like you need to send them all the time. Thing is, a working buddy is a recognized support thing for ADHD. My friend does it for me. You're just greedy and want 50 people to be your buddy. I don't want 50 people to be my buddy. I want 300 people to be my buddy. We need more buddies, chat. Give me more buddies. Bring me more buddies right now. Infinite buddies. I want so many buddies and I can't buddy. I need all of them. I need all the buddies. I want so many buddies I take buddies from other people. You are a buddy. You are a buddy. I need more. Let's not use that. Still sick? I'm getting better. I'm still a little sick. Keep getting a little bit of a headache. You brought two? I'm proud of you. Vanya, vibes. Oh, I mean, cut at me. If you don't want somebody else, that's fine. We're really not doing much of anything right now. I mean, sorry, no, let me get back in the persona. Kanmiya, how dare you watch anybody else? I should be the only streamer you ever think about, the only person you ever want to talk to, ever. I can't do it. I'm sorry. There we go. All right, now I need to wait a little bit to give her a number. That sounds so healthy. I know, right? I know. Can you believe that I'm like, hey, don't watch any other streamers, and I immediately try to find more streamers to raid? I posted a post being like, hey guys, I need more streamers to raid. I have we hit like 70 viewers the other day. We hit 75 viewers the other day. Can I please get somebody to raid into? Nobody. Nobody. All I want is some chill people to raid into. And it was only friends of mine who I already raid into. So goofy. That's fair. It's kind of funny how many of you came to streaming because of me. Like, a lot of you don't consume live content, and now here you are. Does that make me special? Do I have a special brand of content? Fania, you don't stream recently. Tell me when you start streaming again. Oh, nice. Definitely get a gaming laptop. That'd be sick. Hello, Moonsilver. Well, I'm glad to see you. You put us in the basement. Well, I look forward to it, Vanya. Best of luck, nerd. This one I can give. Dang. It is fun. You can bring your gaming PC to the basement. That basement's got to be boiling hot by now, because the amount of people who want to bring their gaming computers and laptops and pets. I mean, we're just gonna go with the theory it's a magic basement. Does that work for everybody? It's a magical Leoplaridon, Charlie. The only live streaming I used to watch was my bestie when she used to stream art, but after Dumb Drama, she left the web, so now we have private Discord. Valid, valid. Can I edit? Yeah, go for it. Go edit some stuff. My favorite's called Gene is Stinky. Arrest that man. And hopefully with a better gaming laptop. Oh, yeah, 100%. Hey, thank you for the follow, Beanie Boos. Pocket Shadow Dimension. Welcome to the Pocket Shadow Dimension. Imagine a TARDIS, but all it is just an empty brick room. You live in the back rooms, don't you, Gene? Who told you? Do I rate flesh tubers? I would. I don't know many flesh tubers, and they need to have a good vibe. They need to have a good vibe. I will say, this is just my personal bias. I will very rarely raid into male flesh tubers. Flesh tuber is just a person with a camera instead of a VTuber. Just because, like, the attitude that I've had from a lot of men, like normal streamers, has always been pretty negative, especially towards VTubers. Not that all of them are. Don't get me wrong. I'm being very, very biased. Hello, Millie Star. Welcome to the menagerie. But men suck. I mean, some do. It's one of the classic things of, okay, I want to talk about this. It was probably the one time I talk about this until I talk about it again. There is always a bias that women have it easier at streaming. And I'll tell you why that's not true, but also partially true. You see, first off, women are very much brought up to like care more about their looks, being cared more about presentation, about how they present themselves to people, while men are not. We're always taught that we're right, that we need to stick up for ourselves and just be brutally me, right? So people who put a lot of effort into how they're seen, who can know how other people perceive them because it's part of their survival, will do better in streaming. But you'll see a lot of women hit 30 viewers and cap out. And I believe that is because of one big reason. A lot of streamers forget what is content for streamers. What is the most important thing for streaming is not what we're putting out there, but us. And if you're selling your streams to people, like you're posting video gaming clips and funny moments, people don't get to learn who you are. They just see the games you play, the things that have happened. I'm doing a whole role play thing. People get to know about me as a character and stuff, and they start wanting to see me. Women have the one benefit that a lot of men see them as a product already and are going to them because of them, which is awful, very horrible, but it does mean that they'll start with a base viewership. And that is the only way that I'd say that a woman ever has it easier with streaming, is that men do not know how to look at themselves as a streamer and are constantly like, oh, I need to show off what I have done. But people want to know you as a streamer, right? Y'all want to know what I do, not the games I play. A funny moment in me playing PUBG is never going to be something enjoyable to make you want to come here. You'll just follow my TikTok to watch my gaming clips. Got trapped in a cage and now I get the goofy stink to watch twice a day? Exactly. Exactly. That's the thing. As a content creator, all of you, remember, focus on you. Don't focus on the content. And you'll grow a lot easier than anybody else will. All right, that's enough talk of that. I've had a long time to think about this too. Y'all, you don't even know. I did flesh tubing. I did all sorts of stuff before being a VTuber. I have seen it all. I've made all the worst choices. Put them in streamer suggestions. Put them in stream suggestions. I think about it a lot, constantly. It is my hyperfixation. Content creation, streaming, live content, all this stuff is my hyperfixation. What are you doing in this time slot? Your mom! Sorry. Co-working right now. I needed something to distract me while I work, because my brain is absolutely fried right now. Okay, I gave you the license. Why is it not taken yet? Barney ass. My Twitch credit. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hey, thank you for the follow, Valdoodles. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know why I insist on saying things multiple times like that. I think it's a brain aneurysm. Not an aneurysm. Default? Where do we need to look for flesh? You will never see flesh me ever. It does not exist anymore. You cannot find it. I've deleted it, and it will never exist. And if you do find it, delete it and never see it. But yes. Yes, Vanya, we don't need to talk about that, do we? But yes. I've done the stuff, though. I've experienced it. Oh, we have a winner. Oh, congratulations. I didn't notice. Let me give you that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Congratulations, you win a free sub. Dark Tome of Knowledge. Exactly. Exactly. Do 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 do. I mean, eventually I might do a face reveal just to do some live content, but genuinely, I prefer this. Yeah, I get to be me. I get to expand on this. I don't have to worry about my IRL life. It's definitely a thing. Harlequin Jester, he, don't you laugh at me. I'll fight you. Hello, Silvervang. What is up? What is up? What is up? Yes. Though I will be doing a, oh, hopefully, I'm still trying to see if I can get a panel at Offguy, but I might be doing a panel at Offguy about content creation, starting a brand, that kind of thing. Fighting me with your voice is a blessing. Don't look at you like that. Yeah, the only reason I'd ever do any of that. Will you upload the panel? Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to. Hypothetically, if I can, I will. But it might be one of those things of it is owned by Offkai. But I will always do a, a reiteration of it later on. I've talked about these things before. My general view of like how content creation and focusing out as a person and building brand versus... Like, I mean, like, my big issue that I see a lot of people facing is just really not having streamer skills. Streaming is a skill. Streaming is a skill. And not a lot of people have the skill, but not a lot of people practice the skill or try to become a person who can be a good streamer. They just keep posting content, keep streaming without any effort put in towards who they are as a streamer. Yeah, you do need, everyone needs to practice the skill. And the best way to do it, Offkai is a convention. Yeah. The best way to practice streaming skills, though, it's very easy. It's very easy. You ready for this? It is a hack that will teach you how to stream super quickly. Throw on a stream, go to just chatting, no intense background music, only something lo-fi in background. Just talk. And that's it. That's it. Now, here's some solutions, right? What you need to do is like write down topics that you can branch off of. Dogs, you can talk about your favorite kind of dog, you can talk about a viewer's dog, you can talk about your own dog, etc., etc. And always remember, when you're streaming, you are the center of the stream. You're not inviting a friend over to talk to, as much as, like, I love all of you very much. This is the Gene Show. And so, like, if I go to you, like, oh, hey, what do you think? And I wait for you to respond, then I'm putting the burden of the stream on the person I'm talking to. Instead, we do things like this. I will fight everybody here, says Leon, and I can talk about people fighting. And I will take something that you have said, and I'll bring it into something that I can talk about. But I will not talk back to you directly. It's one of the best ways, I think, to like continue the conversation and make it open for everybody, so everybody can jump in towards me. Leon was just the first person I saw. I like the color of Leon's name. I thought it was nap chaos hour, JK. I mean, it is. This is the most chaos hour it is right now. And dogs are good. Dogs are amazing. And music, in anything, as long as you are only talking and not showing. You want things to link, you want things to ramble, and you want to never rely on the viewer to control the conversation. You are the conversation, you're the start, you are the center. Okay, let's see if I can find this real quick. And trust me, I made every mistake. I made every mistake back in the day. I mean, I would do the whole thing of like, oh, hey, you person who just came into my stream for the first time, what do you like to do? Uh-huh. And what do you think about that? Cool. And do you like this thing? Really? Okay, cool. Can you tell me more about it? It's just like, are they streaming or am I streaming? Topics you like to go to if chat gets quiet. Me. Lore occasionally. Sometimes I'll think about something in game and you'll pick off just something random and you'll see like, let's say there's a crayon and maybe I'll talk about crayons or drawing or wanting to learn a skill. Sometimes I'll talk about nerd stuff, little itty bitty facts. Sometimes I'll yap about the content I'm making right now. And the thing is, oh, I love talking about my lore, but all sorts of lore. You know, I could talk about, you know what I could talk about that I shouldn't be able to talk about? Warhammer. I've never played Warhammer. I've not read a single book. I have read almost the entire Warhammer wiki. Because the gods are so cool. The gods are so cool. I mean, like the demons and the things and the... Warhammer 40K. So Warhammer is a D&D-like game, but very dark. Warhammer 40K is a sci-fi extension of that. With 40,000 years in the future, world's gone weird, everything's bad. Fantastic. Fantastic stories. So cool. I mean, like, I like the way they form the gods. I like the way that things are traveling in space. I like the fact that humans are xenophobic, but for a purpose. And like everything in Warhammer is insane. It's crazy. Is so cool. And I heard a lot of the books suck, but the lore itself is amazing. I saw somebody once, there was a posted a picture being like, I finally read all of these Warhammer books. And someone said, oh, are they good? He goes, no. he read all of the books in that like one series. I think it's like the fall of the emperor and that kind of thing. The Horus Heresy and everything. And they were just like, it wasn't good, but he read it. All right, I got this person a phone number. That's what I was looking for. Perfect. All right. 1 second, I gotta type this out. All right. Love listening to random rants about random things I have zero understanding of. Me too. Love their commitment. Oh yeah, to reading it. It's just so goofy. This is fun. I'm loving this. I love working while watching stream. Honestly, I've been digging this. I might have to do this more often. Like, I feel sometimes I get even less work done because I'm just sitting there waiting for things to happen. Allison, I have DM'd. I used to regularly DM, and I'm going to be running a one-shot soonish that I need to reschedule. Feel free to ask me a question, Vanya. What's up? I'm also doing work. This is quite nice. Isn't it? Isn't it? I think I'm going up too late, so I'm going to head out. Good night, chat. Sweet dreams, microwave. Mwah. Be good. Do you prefer loud or silent keyboards? Silent. I prefer silent. I know my keys are not like the best, but I like silent keyboards because I do not like any interference with my microphone. And that's the thing. I'm a sound snob. I have a perfect keyboard that I have to program and that I have to learn how to use. It's a split keyboard. I just have not used it yet. I'm also doing work. It's quite nice, isn't it? Isn't it? What are you working on? Oh, I'm at work technically right now. I'm working hybrid doing IT. And so I'm going through a bunch of tickets, responding to them as I can, trying to update them and closing some tasks. We're at 115 tickets. We used to be at 30. They haven't responded to that one yet. That's annoying. What microphone do I use? Rode Procaster, RODE. But remember, microphones should be based on your voice. Once you get into the price of about $200, do headphones with mics work well? Depends. Do not use wireless or Bluetooth. Okay, sorry. Let me scroll up on chat real quick. I got zoned out here for a second. I did not mean if I... Oh no, can we untime out nap time, please? Let me do this. Untime out. Thank you. I accidentally slipped. Nap, I apologize. I was trying to scroll up, but I clicked the mute button, or the timeout button. All right, sorry. You were saying custom-made keyboards. Please, I would actually love a custom-made keyboard. Do headphones with mics work well? I prefer cabled ones, and some of them work well, but they're okay. Snake oil. What do you mean snake oil stuff? You'd have to tell me, Vanya. I don't know exactly what you mean. But yeah, sorry. I use the Rode Procaster, but only if you're going into the $200 range of microphones. Make sure you research the microphone itself. Some microphones are better for deep voices like mine. The Rode Procaster is definitely more on like the warmer, deeper end. The AT series is good for like kind of like the mid-range, but they do have like a little switch for the deeper end. Shure is okay. It's again one of the ones for more of the higher end of the voice spectrum though. $9,000 USD powered outlet for audio equipment. The only way I could understand that, so there is some issues that you can get with like dirty power that can cause some sound distortion. I've had some issue with that. I want to get like a really nice interface, but can't really do that. I will say something that sounds like snake oil but isn't is shielded cables. I've bought some really nice cables that are shielded because I was picking up electronic disturbances from other equipment. And then I also realized that I have a Bluetooth or wireless mic that was pathing right across the cables, so I had to make it wired, which kind of sucks, but it fixes some of the stuff I had. Your voice jump with transition? Then Rode might not be bad, but again, it is a $200 mic, and you would need a $200 interface, so it's a $400 investment with at least $30 of cables. And you need to have the Go XL, you need to have the cloud lifter for it as well, so that's another $100. I would say, like, there are some really good USB mics. Rode makes some. Favorite D&D campaign? I don't know anymore. Honestly, I've had a bunch of good ones, but one of my favorite ones turned really sour, so no longer that one. Do you know any good sheep ones? Yeah. You know what? If you post a reminder, like if anywhere, whether in the Discord and Stream Ideas, I'll make a mic guide at some point. If you want, like, because if you get the right mic for, and here's the thing. Buy a mic for what you're doing. This is a dynamic mic. So it is going to be used for singing and going to be used for streaming because it's not going to pick up too much of the background noise. I have an amazing mic, an AT4040. Picks up everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. You cannot remove the background noise because it's so sensitive. So you don't want to use that for streaming. There are good USB mics. There are amazing USB mics you can get. And you can buy yourself like the Fine, and the Fine is fine. Oh yeah. And I use the wireless Antlion for that kinda. I use the wireless Antlion because it gave me better sound quality, and I was using the old what is it? What was the headset that was like before the Meta took over? Before it was Meta, so like I think it was like Oculus Rift or Oculus Quest 2 or something. The one before Meta took over. I got that one, and the mic on there was really, really bad. Like it was not the plug-in one. Maybe it was the plug-in one. I remember the mic being so awful that I had to buy that because my mic was my selling point. Sure, MV6 is pretty good. Yeah. And again, like if we're talking about headsets, if you ever want to get the best mic you can get, unfortunately, it's going to be plugged. It's going to be plugged in. Wireless, Bluetooth, you will never get good audio from. Wireless, you can get decent audio from. But you go from a cabled microphone to nothing, it's night and day difference. I only got a Mac computer. Still wired mics. Yeah. Actually, Mac is used very heavily in music production, so you should have plenty of access. Okay. Good morning is... Okay, wait, wired is better. I keep forgetting to charge the thing. Yeah, it works too. My AirPods are my mic. Would not suggest using AirPods because they are Bluetooth. Me and my big brother and his friend are doing an infinite dungeon campaign right now. My character is a living doll who may or may not eat flesh. Oh, that's fun. What about me being random? Oh! Okay, y'all. Well, I'm coming up to the end here. I need to go to a appointment. So I appreciate you all so very, 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 very much. We're going to head out. I'm not going to be able to really raid right now, but I'll be back here later, 4 p.m. MST, okay? I think we're going to be doing the forest or maybe dispatch because everybody's talking about dispatch like it's the next best thing. So should we try dispatch maybe?